Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world, it's a national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharifah Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
The Fitch ratings raises Sri Lanka's economic feasibility. A guarantee that Sri Lanka would be freed from the bankrupt status. 3, including a 6-year-old killed in a road accident in Hatton, 53 others injured. An egg is being sold at a price between 25 to 30 rupees. Central bank relief to victimized small and medium-scale entrepreneurs. 5 persons killed when a car stormed into a Christmas fair in Germany.
Now, Fitch Ratings has upgraded Sri Lanka's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to CCC+ from restricted default. Fitch typically does not assign an outlook to sovereigns with a rating of CCC+ or below. Fitch has also upgraded the local currency IDR to CCC+ from CCC- to align with the long-term foreign currency IDR, as the risk of another default on local currency debt has been reduced by the completion of the international sovereign bond restructuring and an improved outlook for macroeconomic indicators. Sri Lanka completed the local currency portion of its domestic debt optimization in September 2023, following the exchange of treasury bills and provisional advances held by Central Bank of Sri Lanka into new treasury bonds and bills. The upgrade of the long-term foreign currency IDR reflects Fitch's assessment that Sri Lanka has normalized relations with a majority of creditors. The debt exchange will convert 11 international sovereign bonds and accumulated past due interest into a mix of 4 micro-linked bonds, 1 governance-linked bond and 1 PDI bond. Sri Lanka is also restructuring debt to commercial and official creditors. An agreement in principle has been reached with most commercial creditors, including international banks, for an amount of about $200 million. Restructuring of debt owed to official creditors is expected to be completed by end 2024. Fitch expects the new government to support progress on reforms.
The Fitch rating, which is a prominent international credit rating agency which recognized as one of the big 3 alongside Moody and Standard & Poor's, has increased our credit rating. We all know that we had a restricted default status. Now we have a CCC+. This upgrade reflects more favorable outcome for Sri Lankan economy, driven by ongoing recovery efforts and the implementation of measures aimed to stabilizing the financial situation of the country. So Fitch analysis suggests that the country's economic recovery, along with the moderating inflation and decrease in interest rate, also enhancing of the foreign reserves, will support business activities moving forward. Additionally, this Fitch rating has noted that reducing the sovereign stress is expected to enhance the credit profile of Sri Lankan banks, which indicates a broader positive trends in the economy and the country financial health. This proves that how this government has going forward, and this shows how this government has taken forward this economy, which gives a good signal to the foreign direct investors. Now we can ask them to come to Sri Lanka, invest and support the economic development of this country.
Now Fitch rating is upgraded Sri Lankan rates from RD level to CCC+. It is good news actually. Now, meantime, the short-term issues default rating rate is now at C level, and also the country ceiling, or that is called the country ceiling level, is now B-, and also the local currency long-term issues defaults in RD rate is now C+, CCC+, previously got CCC-, and also the local currency short-term issue DR is now stable. Therefore, all those the rating level is quite good level compared to the previous level. And now Sri Lanka can take some foreign investment. Sri Lanka is actually now can be used our internationally called the treasury bonds to the international market. There are many possibilities for the expand the economy now.
Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Mahinda Siriwardena, says that Sri Lanka officially exits sovereign default, marking a major milestone. He made those comments following the release of the latest Fitch ratings report. Posting on X, Finance Secretary Mahinda Siriwardena pointed out that with the stability in Sri Lanka's economy, measures are now needed to provide further momentum for inclusive and sustainable growth. In his X post, the Finance Secretary said that it was crucial that regardless of political changes, Sri Lanka adheres to some fundamental economic principles such as fiscal discipline and sound monetary management. He added that this is just the start of Sri Lanka's journey towards prosperity for all, where everyone should make their utmost contribution.
Now, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka says that the internal sovereign bond transfer has been conducted via 8 new treasury bonds according to the foreign debt restructuring process. The Ministry of Finance has recently announced the invitation for international sovereign bond transfer. The final result pertaining to the expression of willingness for the transfer was declared on the 16th of this month. A central bank communique issued in this connection says that the government of Sri Lanka has transferred 8 new treasury bonds, making use of the presentations made under alternatives on local bonds. It adds that international sovereign bonds have come under the naming of Sri Lanka rupee value.
3 persons were killed when a private bus plying from Hatton to Kandy went off the road and fallen into a precipice this morning. 44 passengers injured in the incident were admitted for treatment at the Dikkoya Base Hospital. The accident has occurred in Malayapur in the Hatton-Kandy main road. It has been pointed out that a mechanical fault in the bus was the cause of the accident. The victims were a 6-year-old male child, a woman and an adult male. Some of the severely wounded were transferred to the Navalapitiya District Hospital and the Kandy Teaching Hospital. A container travelling in the direction of Kandy on the Colombo-Kandy road met with an accident in Utuvankanda today as a result of the driver of the vehicle falling asleep. As a result, the driver had lost control of the container truck and it clashed with 2 nearby buildings and another lorry. 6 passengers were injured when a bus belonging to the Theldenia depot hit a mango tree near the slope of the Dawson Tower in Kadugannava around 3 p.m. today. The bus was travelling towards Kandy from Colombo at the time of the incident. The injured were admitted to the Kadugannava and Peradeniya hospitals.
Now, the Consumer Affairs authorities continuously engaged in conducting raids to nab traders who conceal rice stocks. Now, measures have been taken to conduct several raids during this season. The police has taken into possession a stock of Nadu rice concealed by a trader in Ginigattena town. The raid was conducted by officials of the Consumer Affairs Authority in Nuwara with the Ginigattena police station. Legal action is to be taken against the owner of the shop. Meanwhile, the Kalutara South Police Station has arrested 2 suspects who have stolen a stock of rice from a rice wholesale trade outlet in Kalutara. It has been found that the culprits had sold a consignment of nearly 1,000 kilos of rice at a lower price to another trader in Nagoda. Minister of Trade, Commerce, Food Security and Cooperative Development Wasantha Samarasinha said that the government has intervened to release a stock of more than 10 million kilos of paddy from the possession of 10 mill owners in Polonnaruwa. The minister further said that the government has also distributed the past 10 days more than 3,000 metric tons of rice through Satosa outlets. He also said that government has given permission to import rice and rice stocks were allowed to be discharged from the customs for those who presented the relevant documents at around midnight last night. 65,000 metric tons tons of rice have reached the market by yesterday evening. There is a shortfall of 70,000 metric tons of rice for local consumption. The rice being imported through tenders of the SATSA and STC has already reached the island. The minister added that similarly they have received nearly 2,000 metric tons. He has also expressed hope that by 15th of January, all rice imports could be completed. He further said that the problem in the rice market is being gradually relieved. It is being gradually relieved rather. He also said that any shortfall in the rice market will be fulfilled to a great extent in the next few days. The All Ceylon Poultry Businessmen's Association says that they are taking measures to sell an egg at the price of 30 rupees during the festive season. Martali Jayasekara of the All Ceylon Poultry Businessmen's Association said that the festive season has already begun. Currently, an egg is being sold for 28 rupees. The price may come down further. This is mainly because of wholesale stockists are now exposing their stocks as they are aware that the prices would not go up. He also added that there will definitely be no shortage of eggs or chicken during the festive season.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka issued a circular to licensed banks yesterday highlighting relief measures to be provided to the small and medium enterprises affected due to the Easter Sunday attack, COVID-19 pandemic and the extraordinary macroeconomic conditions that prevailed during the recent past. The circular was issued as agreed by the Sri Lanka Banks Association Limited during the meetings of the Working Committee on Recovery of Loans by Banks on the Special Provisions Amendment Act No. 26 of 2024. Further, SLBA, while formulating relief measures, was of the view that any suspension of parate execution will not be beyond 31st of March 2025. The salient features of the relief measures are as follows. Relief measures will only be applicable to credit facilities of SME borrowers of licensed banks that have been classified as Stage 3 non-performing on or after 1st April 2019, provided that SMEs initiate discussions with the bank's Business Revival Unit by 31st of March 2025, subject to submission of all required documents. Rescheduling of impaired loans for eligible SME borrowers will be based on the borrower's repayment capacity and the submission of an acceptable business revival plan. All scheduled agreements with the borrowers are required to be finalized by 15th June 2025. Eligible SME borrowers with an aggregate capital outstanding of credit facilities below 25 million rupees, between 25 million rupees and 50 million rupees and above 50 million rupees as of 15th December 2024 are required to commence repayment of their rescheduled loans no later than 31st December 2025, 30th September 2025 and 30th June 2025 respectively. Unpaid interest, excluding capitalized interest on the credit facilities of eligible SME borrowers applicable to the period from 1st April 2019 to 15th December 2024 may be waived off as follows. Bank Supervision Department, 20th December 2024. Licensed banks were informed to consider providing additional reliefs, including the granting of working capital facilities to eligible borrowers subject to the borrower's repayment capacity and the submission of credible business revival plans assessed on a case-by-case basis. Licensed banks have been requested not to decline the new loan applications from eligible borrowers under the scheme solely based on adverse crib records. In the event of a rejection or dispute regarding the provision of reliefs, licensed banks were informed to make the borrower aware of the reasons for such rejection or dispute and to advise the borrower that there is an opportunity to appeal the decision to the Director of the Financial Consumer Relations Department at the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Licensed banks are required to provide eligible borrowers with a breakdown of the capital, interest and other charges of their credit facilities upon request. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka requests both licensed banks and concerned borrowers to effectively collaborate to ensure the consistent application of these relief measures. Accordingly, eligible borrowers are requested to contact the respective licensed banks with relevant information and documents to discuss and agree on repayment plans. Borrowers are expected to commence repayment as agreed with the banks, as non-repayment of loan obligations for a longer period would result in unwarranted strains on both banks and borrowers.
Now, the inauguration ceremony to distribute 2,210 metric tons of fertilizer received under the World Food Programme has taken place at the Malsiripura Agrarian Service Centre yesterday. 8,389 farmer families have received fertilizer at this occasion. The fertilizer of the WFP is being distributed in addition to the government fertilizer subsidy of 25,000 rupees per hectare. Deputy Minister Namal Karunaratne has presided over the event conducted to distribute fertilizer among 67 farm organizations in the Malsiripura area. The World Food Programme fertilizer distribution is scheduled to be conducted at 56 agrarian service centers in the island. Deputy Minister Namal Karunaratne said that each farmer is entitled to a cash receipt amounting to 25,000 rupees per hectare. He says that the fertilizer is being provided in addition to this relief free of charge. Deputy Minister further said that the government is hoping to purchase more than 300,000 metric tons of paddy from the farmers. He has requested farmers to hand over considerable quantities of paddy to the government paddy storages. He also said that according to the current compensation process, a farmer whose crops were damaged will receive a compensation amounting to 100,000 rupees for each hectare of land. Deputy Minister Namal Karunaratne also said that presently crop damages in respect of the animal involvement is presently being confined to elephant attacks. However, there are many more animals who destroy the harvest. Discussions are underway to broaden the scope of compensation in respect of damages caused by other forms of animals as well.
Deputy Minister T.B. Sarath says a program to nurture forest cover is scheduled to commence next year. He points out that this program is a major step to resolve the problem caused by wild elephants. A discussion centered upon to minimize elephant-human conflict in the Mahavali B zone was conducted yesterday. Speaker Dr. Jagat Vikramaratne and high-ranking officials of the Mahavali Authority have participated in the event along with the Deputy Minister. The meeting was dealt in depth on measures to be taken to control the problem dealing with the wild elephants. Deputy Minister T.B. Sarath said that food has to be processed within the forest itself for the use of elephants. However, no government has undertaken such a project in this country before. The Deputy Minister also said funds will be allocated in this regard from next year onwards. Nurturing the forest with full food requirement of the wild animals is a responsibility of a state. He also said the country could not go forward by destroying the elephants. These creatures definitely need to be protected. He said elephant is a huge resource and an income earner. Deputy Minister Sarath further said it has been anticipated that the country could earn a revenue of around 50 billion rupees from elephants in the next 10 to 15 years.
Now, change is something that begins with the attitude of you and me. Sri Lankan motorists drive their vehicles by the sheer sound of their horns rather than steering the wheel. This is common talk in society as the situation has become enhanced due to intolerable proportions in the towns, as drivers as well as pedestrians have become the desperate victims of this menace. Now, this situation is prevailing in an extremely busy hour at a crowded city in Japan. Let's see the situation in the Maharagama town in Sri Lanka this afternoon when rows of vehicles were moving on the main road. It has become a common practice among Sri Lankan motorists of unnecessarily honking their horns throughout the journey. Our reporters tried to get an understanding on this condition by interviewing several drivers. Drivers say that they were compelled to sound their horns as pedestrians and fellow motorists do not follow traffic regulations. Some of them said that now it has become a habit among motorists to sound their horns as they pass crowded cities. It is also important to find how the pedestrians feel the impact of this horrendous situation. Some pedestrians told our reporter that it is a great disturbance to hear loud horn noises always as they walk along the roads of busy towns. They accuse motorists of sounding their horns unnecessarily. Some say that powerful horns of some vehicles terrorize them. There are plenty of traffic rules which stipulates how the drivers should become law-abiding and disciplined. Yet in every crowded town in Sri Lanka, we have witnessed how passenger transport services always embroiled in a competition to overtake the other and reach their destination as soon as possible. In order to do so, these errant drivers blare their horns in the loudest fashion and show no compassion on the environmental damages or the huge harm perpetrated on the pedestrians. The national television is eager to inquire what measures have been taken by the traffic police to resolve this calamity. It is almost certain that the problem could not be sorted out until the drivers determined how to become respectful motorists, and enactment of whatever laws would not become sufficient to ease the problem.
The United Nations Population Fund says it will continue to extend assistance for the future progress of the Sri Lanka Free Health Service. This was disclosed at a recent meeting between the local UNPF representatives and Minister of Health Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa. The meeting between the resident representative of the UNPF in Sri Lanka, Kanli Adeni, has taken place at the Ministry of Health. During the discussion, extensive attention has been focused on the contributions of the UN Population Fund on projects being implemented in Sri Lanka. The representatives have pledged to extend maximum support for the health plans to be implemented by the new government in future.
Now, parliamentarian Faiz Mustafa says he will not contest the future elections under the gas cylinder symbol again. Now, he points out that in future polls he will compete under the United People's Freedom Alliance. Parliamentarian Faiz Mustafa said that the task of the opposition is not to criticize every act of the government. Faiz Mustafa also said that they are now a fallen lot, but expressed hope that they could rise again. Parliamentarian further said that although they had contested under the gas cylinder symbol before, their aim is now, and it should be, to form an alliance by uniting leftist forces. He also said that in the past, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party had always secured victories through forming alliances.
The 2024 Sri Lanka Tourism Awards ceremony was held at the Cinnamon Life City of Dreams hotel premises yesterday. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vijitha Herath, was the chief guest at this occasion. The striking contributions for the progress of the Sri Lankan tourism industry, as well as the excellence shown in the advancement of local tourism sector, were evaluated on this occasion. The Sri Lankan tourism sector has been subjected to appreciation through presentation of awards since the inauguration ceremony held in 2008. Many achievements in the tourism industry, especially through the procurement of services and numerous products, have been recorded. Yesterday's awards presentation ceremony was also attended by Chief Executive Officer of the Pacific Asia Tourist Association, Noor Ahmed Hamid, and many other representatives.
Our strategic vision focuses on sustainable and inclusive tourism development. We aim to implement policies that promote environmental stewardship, cultural preservation, and community engagement. By fostering partnerships between the public and private sectors, we strive to create a tourism ecosystem that benefits all Sri Lankans. We are honored to have esteemed international guests with us tonight, including Mr. Noor Ahmed, CEO of the Pacific Asia Travel Association, PATA, whose presence signifies the global recognition of our efforts. Such partnerships are vital as we integrate global best practices to elevate our tourism standards. The government's commitment to supporting the tourism sector remains steadfast, with initiatives aimed at enhancing infrastructure, marketing, and human resource development. In conclusion, let us embrace the future with optimism and determination. Together, we can build a resilient, sustainable, and thriving tourism industry that showcases the unparalleled beauty and hospitality of Sri Lanka.
An exhibition of strange forms of art named Amuthu Art, created by artist Saman Hallelua, is taking place at the Lionel Wendt Art Gallery in Colombo. Now, the display, which commenced yesterday, will end tomorrow. This is the second art exhibition of Saman Hallelua. Nearly 40 drawings have been presented at this exhibition. Hallelua is also a photographer on wildlife.
We now move on to more local news items in brief. A meeting between Norwegian ambassador in Sri Lanka, Marilyn Sterner, and opposition leader Sajid Premadasa has taken place at the office of the opposition leader. Opinions have been exchanged at length on many social, economic and political issues. Residents say treasure hunters have destroyed many archaeological artifacts in the Nidangala hill of the historic Dimbulagala Aranya Senasana premises. They accuse the security as well as archaeological officials for failing to take any measures. A group of selected fishermen were presented with boats and fish packaging boxes valued at around 30 million. Kattakadua Aquatic Culture Office in Ranna today. Deputy Ministers of Fisheries, Aquatic and Marine Resources Ratna Gamage presided over the event. The Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau says 1,500 Sri Lankan nationals have been accorded employment opportunities in Israel since January of this year up to now. Air tickets were handed over to a further batch. The Sri Lanka Ex-Servicemen's Association has organized a march today in connection with the 2024 Poppy Flower Commemoration of Armed Forces. The walk, which commenced from the Golface Green, ended in front of the War Memorial of the Vihara Mahadevi Park. Floral tributes were placed at the memorial. Retired commanders and senior officers of the three armed forces were among those who were present at the ceremony. Kala Shuri PM Abewardana, who has an experience in upcountry dancing tradition for more than 50 years, was felicitated with the Kala Vibhushana State Award recently. The versatile artist has been engaged continuously in dancing tasks of the Kandy Asada Perahara of the Sri Dalada Maligava, Kandy, for more than 40 years. A ceremony to appreciate his services was conducted at the Rathapitiya Central College in Kandy. Well, that's it on local news. We'll be back with news overseas. Do stay tuned in.
Share the love, share the joy and fun
with everyone.
Season's greetings for a joyous Christmas.
Prima Kottumi, Fantamai.
Prima Kottumi, Fantamai.
Moving on with your foreign news, at least 5 people have been killed, including a toddler, and scores injured after a car ploughed into a bustling Christmas market in Magdeburg, Germany, yesterday.
Over 200 people were injured, including around 40 people with critical injuries. The suspected driver, who is believed to have acted alone, has been arrested. He is a 50-year-old man and a doctor from Saudi Arabia. Local broadcaster MDR reports that he was driving a rented car. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz travelled to Magdeburg today to visit the site of the market attack with other key politicians. During a briefing, Scholz told the people of Germany that they need to stick together as a country and not let hatred divide them.
Prima Kottumi, Fantamai.
Welcome back. We move on to sports news now. The Sri Lanka T20 cricket team has left for New Zealand last night to take part in a cricket series.
Now, the New Zealand series includes 3 one-day matches and 3 T20 matches. Prior to departure, the Sri Lankan cricketers were engaged in religious observances at cricket. Thereafter, they posed for an official photograph. The Sri Lankan contingent is comprised of 16 players under the captaincy of Charit Tasalanka. The first match of the T20 series is scheduled to commence on the 28th of this month and the second match on the 30th. The third T20 match is scheduled to take place on the 2nd of January. The first of the one-day series is expected to be conducted on the 5th of next month.
The CH and FC team has been successful in securing victory in the first match in the second week of the Inter-Club League Rugby tournament by defeating the Police team. The Sri Lanka Rugby Federation has organised the tournament. In the match played at the police grounds, the CHNFC team was ahead at the end of the first round by collecting 17 points against the 14 points recorded by their rivals. In the second half as well, the CH team added 22 more points while the police team managed to secure just 13 points. The final score was 39-27 in favour of the CHNFC team, whose points came in the form of 4 goals, a try and 2 penalties.
And that was a look at your news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan Pereira together with Sharifah Tahir. Wish you a pleasant evening.